Alright, we're going to show you guys how to get those frozen brake bleeder screws loose. These are notorious for snapping and breaking off, and then you've got to replace your whole caliper. All four of mine are frozen, they're rusted on there real solid. I'm going to show you some techniques to get these loose. Thanks as always for watching. I really appreciate the likes and subscribes. I've not been able to flush my brake fluid in many years, so I know the fluid's old, it can't be good, but there's pen tests. These are like $8-10, and you could slip it in and test your fluid for moisture content. Mine comes in at 2%. First things first, let's top off that reservoir. We do not want to end up trying to break these loose and then we're leaking fluid, and then that level falls below the min and gets air into the master cylinder. Definitely want to avoid that. Alright, the first simple step we can take is just using an oil penetrant. Alright, we're really going to try to work the penetrant as best we can. Every 15 minutes we're going to spritz it and try it with the wrench, and just repeat that for 90 minutes to 2 hours. So you can see my wrench is loose there. I'm going to switch over to a socket. It's less likely to strip the screw, and I can use more torque. I'm going to keep repeating this. Just give it 15 minutes, try again. Now we're going to step it up and just hammer it a little bit. Don't hammer the screw. And another thing that we can do is insert a cut-off drill bit there. And we can use even more force as we keep going along. Again, you can see the wrench didn't work. It's been about 90 minutes, and finally we get success, and the front passenger side is broken loose. So we'll tighten that back up and come back to it later. Now we're on to the passenger rear, which looks really bad. The grommet had fallen off, so rust was all over that screw. And we got success here too with the same method, just giving it 90 minutes to 2 hours. And keep applying the penetrant. Now, we're in the driver's side rear. We're going to do the hammer. We're going to do the drill bit. I'm getting more aggressive with the torque. It's just not working. Same with the socket. And we're going to step it up again. Now, we're going to use an impact driver. And finally it breaks loose. That little bit of vibration was just enough, and those impact drivers are not too strong. They're just a little 1/4 inch, hex, and yeah, it worked. I'm so happy. Now we're going to work that screw loose back and forth a few times because it's really on there. Last one for me is the front driver's side, and it is not budging with any of those methods. So now we're going to use a rounded bolt socket, which is not going to really come loose. We're going to actually have to hammer it on there just a little bit. And we're going to step it up even further with an air hammer. And I've got a special attachment here, a bolt breaker, that I can use a wrench and try to work it loose, while it's hammering down on the screw, creating even more vibration, and that worked. So that air hammer did the trick. I'm just going to, again, just work this screw back and forth a few times just to make sure it's really going to come out. So let's pull it out, and check at the end. I've got in the appendix, how I put the anti-seize on it. You can see the old one there was totally corroded and looked really bad. The anti-seize will help prevent this thing from giving me problems in the future. Alright, now we're going to bleed the brakes. Because we've replaced all the bleeder screws, we've got to do this anyway. Plus, I have to flush my system because I've got the old fluid. So here we go. I've got a one-man system. All I'm going to do is top off my reservoir, and then I'm going to put about 10 pounds of pressure on my my power bleeder here. Check it for leaks real quick, and then we'll get started. Put on my brake fluid collector, and we'll crack it open and let the pressure do the work. This makes it great. It's a one-man job. No one has to sit in the car hitting the brakes while I crack open the screw. As it fills up, you're going to notice that your level falls, of course, and you want to prevent air from getting into that master cylinder, so we're going to close it shut, release the pressure slowly, and then we're going to top it back off and get going again. We're starting off with the passenger rear side, and then we're going to move on to the driver rear, passenger front, and we're going to finish with the driver front. You can see the fluid starts to come in more clear. That tells you you're done. The passenger rear is going to need the most fluid flushed out, of course, because it's the farthest away from the master cylinder. Alright, now let's just top off our system. And some things that I moved over really quick. Just show you here that drill bit that I used. That's how you snap it off. And the anti-seize, use very, very little. And you don't want to get it towards the end where the little hole is in the screw.